What's going on, Alabama fans? We are officially 1 week away from Alabama kicking off at Bryant-Denny Stadium. So we want to look in on our August sub-battle, see where we're sitting right now. The Michigan Football Report has taken the lead, and I am in shambles. So if you guys haven't already, make sure you hit that sub button for me right now. Do not miss any Alabama football news, rumors, whether it's recruiting during the season, any kind of news out there regarding the Alabama Crimson Tide. We will have it for you. We're also going to be having watch parties all season long for every single game, so do not miss out. Hit that sub button for me right now. Coming up on today's show, we're going to be talking about the latest on running back commit Anthony Rogers. He talked to Touchdown Alabama magazine after his first game of his high school season last night, so we'll talk about him. We'll also talk about, I'm going to give my position battle predictions. Got about 3 or 4 really big position battles, I think, going on right now for Alabama before their first game of the season. So I'm going to predict who's going to be the starters at those specific positions. Also, going to talk about Kirk Herbstreit this morning on College Game Day, gave his prediction for his 12-team playoff bracket. So we're going to break all of that down on today's show. First up, though, we're going to talk about the latest in Anthony Rogers. You know, there's been a little bit of, rumors out there about the possibility of him possibly decommitting from Alabama. Now, last year he was at IMG, now transfers back home to Carver Montgomery. And, he had a really good night last night to open it up. Like I said, he is right now still committed to Alabama, 4-star recruit in this 2025 class. Just a really, really good player overall, I think. Very versatile, does a lot of different things. Can catch the ball out of the backfield. Also, just a very good, change of pace type guy. Not really like your big power back. I think that's going to be more A.K. Deer. But I really do still like what I see from Anthony Rogers. This is what he told Touchdown Alabama magazine about his commitment to the Crimson Tide right now and where it stands. He said, "I'm still committed. Just looking around, just seeing what other schools got to offer, and just make sure I made the right decision for my future." And like I said, last night, his first game of the season, pretty solid overall. 162 total yards, 1 receiving touchdown, and a nice little just slant route right up the middle, catching the ball through traffic. It was a really, really, really nice play, I think, from him. And I like what he could possibly bring to the table for Alabama in this 2025 recruiting class. Some of the other teams that he told Touchdown Alabama are still interested and still in the running for his recruitment: Auburn, Georgia, and Ohio State. Now, he did take that visit to Georgia instead of coming to the cold summer cookout. So I think, they're really one of those teams to watch. And we know what Auburn's doing in the state of Alabama in those, I think they've got like 8 of the top 10 right now in the state of Alabama committed. So we'll see what happens with Anthony Rogers. But for now, still committed to the University of Alabama. And also, I think this is of note as well, when they arrived to their game yesterday, he was wearing an Alabama pullover, sweatshirt, something like that. So really good to, just see him repping the team in the first game of the season. So let me know in the comments section. This is your first chance to get interactive with the show today. What is your confidence level in Anthony Rogers staying committed to Alabama's 2025 recruiting class? Scale it for me, 1 to 10, 1 on the low end. Yeah, he's probably going to flip decommit. Or 10, he's signing with the Crimson Tide. He's staying for 3 to 4 years and then going off to the NFL. Let me know at the pinned comment of today's video. Also want to go into some position battles on today's show, make some predictions for those battles. I think there's a lot of really interesting battles right now for Alabama. You got the Bandit position, the Wolf position, cornerback, and most importantly, maybe not most importantly, but one of the biggest position battles at that right tackle spot. First up, predictions right here. We're going to go with the Bandit position. I think right now, Jah-Marien Latham is the guy who is going to be the starter, going out there for the first snaps of the season for Alabama. But very, very close up is going to be LT Overton. I think both of those guys, you can maybe say like starter 1, starter 2, because I think there is also a chance that, whether it's, different run packages or maybe pass defense, one of those guys could swap out depending on what type of down it is. I really, really like LT Overton coming over from Texas A&M, former 5-star player. Alabama's pretty loaded at this position in general. You got Keon Keeley there. I think he's your solid number 3 Bandit player. And then Jordan Renaud, another very solid player that Alabama's got at that Bandit in that Bandit room, depth chart, whatever you want to call it. I really like where Alabama stands at this position. But for right now, I think Jah-Marien Latham is going to be the guy to start at that Bandit position. Next up, we're going to talk about the Wolf battle going on. And I don't think it's the biggest battle really going on. I think Quandarius Robinson is going to be the guy to go out there to start for Alabama at that position. But I really, really like what I see from Keanu Coate. I think, he's really going to challenge Quandarius Robinson at that position. And really, my hope is that he's just going to push him to be the best player he can be. Because this is Quandarius Robinson's last year. So if he's not able to really take that step and be the guy that Alabama needs him to be at that Wolf position, Keanu Coate is right there, and I got a feeling, if anything happens, he is going to be the guy to step up and, really be able to impact for Alabama. And then Quay Russo, really like him as well. He's also another guy I think, could go in there and play very meaningful snaps for Alabama. If something were to happen to those two guys, knock on wood, that doesn't happen. But I think Quay Russo can give you some valuable playing time. And then Jan Zapier, really like what he brings to the table. But, I think he's pretty much solidified at that, Wolf 4 spot, I guess. It's going to really take a lot for him to get, on the field in some meaningful playing time this year. I think he definitely plays this year, but it's going to take a lot for him to really climb up the depth chart to really see starting time. Then I like those freshman backups you got as well. Ja'Shawn Ross, Noah Carter. Those guys probably not going to play much this year, but for right now, I've got Quandarius Robinson running out there on the defense for the first snap of the season at that Wolf position. I think this is the biggest position battle on the defensive side of the ball. For right now, going into the season, Damani Jackson 100% is going to be one of these starting cornerbacks. The question mark is, who is going to be the second starting cornerback? For right now, I've got Deshaun Jones. And really what it comes down to is the on-field playing experience that he's already got in college football. I think he's played like over 800 snaps in college football so far. A lot of experience, but I really, really like the talent that Alabama has behind him in Zay Mincy and Jalen Mbakwe, the 2 freshmen coming in and, from all accounts have had amazing fall camp. So we'll see what happens there. If Deshaun Jones goes out there and, kind of gets beat on a couple of things, I would not rule out the possibility of Zay Mincy also getting a chance to go in there. We'll see what's up with his hand. Still got his hand in that club, the last that I believe has been, reported and stuff. So we'll see how that kind of affects Zay Mincy. Then you got Jaleel Hurley down there, still has that backup redshirt freshman. He might just be a guy that it might take 2-3 seasons for him to be able to see the field in some meaningful playing time. But for right now, I've got Damani Jackson and Deshaun Jones, your starting corners for Alabama going into the first game of the season. I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor before we get to our last position battle. That is LinkedIn Jobs. When you are hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. And that's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has all the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. Before I got hired here at Chat Sports, I went on LinkedIn. I updated my page, had all my, recent work and everything like that. I put my resume on there, and then I sent it to Chat Sports, and it just made it really, really easy for them to figure out who I was, as a possible candidate for, our position here as host of the Alabama Football Report and producer as well. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals professionals that you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but might be open to the perfect role. In any given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. 2.5 million small businesses are using LinkedIn for hiring. So if you own a small business, you need to be using LinkedIn to hire your professionals. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/cfchat. That's linkedin.com/cfchat to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. But one more time for you guys, that's linkedin.com/cfchat. Post your job for free. That link will be in the comment section and the description of today's video. One of the biggest position battles that we've been talking about all summer, fall camp long, that right tackle position for right now. I think the first snap of the season is going to go to Wilkin Formby, and I'll tell you why. I think Wilkin Formby really was able to take advantage of the fact that Elijah Pritchett was working more at that left tackle position during the spring when you did not have Caden Proctor back yet. I think Wilkin Formby, the coaching staff has said they'd like to see him get a little bit more of a push in the run game, but they like what they've seen from him in pass protection. I think that's going to be really big for him. Because last year, unfortunately, Elijah Pritchett was not that good in pass protection. Now, he was on the left side of the line at that left tackle spot, a little bit different on the right tackle spot, but for right now, I've got Wilkin Formby being the starter. We're going to see both of these guys in game 1, probably game 2, and I would honestly still assume game 3 as well. It's going to take, I think, a few weeks for this position battle to really be solidified, but I think at the end of the day, I think Wilkin Formby is going to be the guy for Alabama at that right tackle position. So let me know in the comments section, guys. I know we have asked this question a ton, but I think it's a really important question because this is a really, really big position battle for Alabama along the offensive line. Pick a right tackle for me. Who do you think is going to be the starter? Type WF if you think it's going to be Wilkin Formby, or type EP if you think it's going to be Elijah Pritchett. Last thing we want to get into on today's show, Kirk Herbstreit this morning on College Game Day put out his playoff prediction bracket for the new 12-team playoff this year. This is what it looked like for Kirk Herbstreit. The first 4 teams that get that bye, he's got Georgia as the number 1 seed. Obviously, that means he thinks they're going to win the SEC championship. Pretty easy pick right there, I think. Ohio State, he's got them winning the Big Ten with the number 2 seed. Clemson at the number 3 seed, and then Utah at the number 4 seed. But I think what's most notable here, no Alabama anywhere. Even those first 2 teams out. He's got Ole Miss the first team out, and then Oklahoma State the second team out. So I'm going to give my opinion on this in just a second, but let me know right here in the comments section. Does Alabama make the 12-team playoff this year? It's the first year of the 12-team playoff. I think there's a very good chance that 3 SEC teams get in, possibly even 3 Big Ten teams. I think they're the 2 best conferences in college football right now. But let me know in the comment section, do you think Alabama makes the 12-team playoff? Type Y for yes or N for no. Right now, I think Alabama makes it. I think they do have a pretty decently tough schedule ahead of them this year, but I believe in the coaching staff here. I believe in this roster, and really what it would mean for Kirk Herbstreit's 12-team bracket in particular. Missouri would have to beat Alabama, because if Alabama goes in there and beats Missouri, maybe there's a chance that if Alabama is Missouri's only loss, yeah, they could definitely still get in. But with Alabama not getting in, it means that game against Missouri, Alabama would have to lose. And I think the biggest thing for Alabama right now is the fact that their roster is still very, very elite. It's still one of the best rosters in college football. There wasn't this mass exodus that everybody thought was going to happen after Nick Saban retired. Now, you did lose a lot of guys at that defensive back room, but you were still able to come back in the transfer portal and fill some of those roles in. Sure, there's still light at that position relative to what you would normally have, but I still think you've got some solid depth at that position, even though some of that depth is a little bit younger. And with that roster being very, very elite, it's going to put the pressure really on the coaching staff. it's kind of in the same boat, not really, but a little bit in the same boat when you talk about Ryan Day as well, at Ohio State. They've got a really, really good roster. Same with Ole Miss, excuse me. They've got a really, really solid roster. So it's really up to the coaching staff to be able to put them in positions to win. And it's going to be the same with Alabama this year. Obviously, first-year head coach, first-year defensive coordinator for Alabama, new OC as well. So it's a little bit different from Ole Miss and Ohio State. But when it comes to the fact that the pressure is on the coaching staff for those teams to win this year, I think that is certainly the case. And Alabama's got, like I said, a decently tough schedule this year. Some really big games to watch for Alabama this year. I didn't really know necessarily what to put as the title. Games to watch, upset alert. I didn't really like upset alert, so I went with games to watch. Week 5, obviously we know, one of the biggest games of the year against Georgia. That's going to be a really, really tough one. And then you go at Tennessee week 8. That's always a really tough place to play. Then you got that game versus Missouri. I don't really know how, I see that game at this point. It's going to be a home game, but I really like, what Missouri has, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And then going down to Baton Rouge for week 11 at LSU. That's always, a decent game. All of these teams, besides Auburn, are ranked right now in the preseason polls that came out. So all these really big games, you go to Oklahoma, we will see how they fare in their SEC schedule, whether or not they get beat up, by the end of the season. But that could be another game that's really close. And then obviously you have to watch the Iron Bowl. It's a crazy rivalry, one of the best rivalries in college football, if not the best. You never know what can happen in that game. So, we'll see. But for right now, I think Alabama makes it into the 12-team playoff.